record the so it's my pleasure to introduce you to Executive Danielle Ripley.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for that lovely introduction, Melissa. Oh my word. I've been getting filled in from Melissa on what you guys have been up to, and it is so cool. I love it because accountability is a huge part of this. If you think about it, accountability is a huge part of everything. Like I had started trying to get 10,000 steps a day in by myself. I just wasn't consistent. Some days I do it, some days I didn't. As soon as I got myself an accountability partner, and we were texting a picture of our wrists to each other every night to verify we hit our 10,000, it was like all of a sudden game on. So I think these accountability groups that you guys are doing are very wise. I love that you're linking arms. I love that you're giving, because really when you say yes to accountability, you're giving someone permission to kind of love on you in a harder way. Like, hey, remember you said you wanted to do this. Are you still serious about that? And I think a lot of times to really bring about true change and true consistency, that's what we need, is to have that extra drive and layer of accountability. So being that Melissa and I were chatting last night and we're getting towards the end of the month, I thought it might be beneficial tonight for me to, or this afternoon for me to share just a couple of pieces of advice I have on closing the month out strong. And I actually want to tell you guys, I like to always tattle on things like when we've done things wrong. And so I want to tell you about when Deanna and I hit Silver Manager. I was trying to do this from my computer instead of my phone so I could see all y'all's faces at the same time. But who on here has yet to hit Gold Manager? You're either currently a manager or you're a Silver Manager, but you're wanting to, okay. Like I see a couple hands. So when Deanna and I first hit Silver Manager, we had probably 4 or 5 days left in the month. And we decided kind of not to intentionally just quit working, but we both were like so happy that we hit the goal that we had for that month that we're like, oh, we're going to take a breather for a couple days. And what happened over the next 4 days is that everyone kept working. And what happened was Deanna and I realized on the last day of the month, we were at like 9,200 points. And both of us looked at each other with a ton of regret, because mentally we told ourselves, we hit this one rank, let's take a breath, we'll regroup, we'll see, hit it hard next month. And what happened was we fell just shy of a brand new rank. And it was because we kind of took our foot off the gas. Now, in hindsight, it was a mistake for several reasons. First of all, this is a team effort, and you can get to manager on yourself. It is hard to get to Silver Manager on yourself. And someday you're going to be leading a massive team like Melissa's leading right now. And you're going to have a goal you're shooting for. And you're going to need every manager and every Silver Manager and Gold Manager to be running the entire month. And so it was a mistake for starters, because at the time we probably had upline that may have been pushing for a goal. And Deanna and I didn't work super close with an upline our first really ever, but like we didn't have that type of relationship where somebody was like, hey, what are you pushing for, and all that stuff. So we were kind of like an island out on our own, which was fine. But my point is that our upline probably needed us to be working a lot harder those last 4 days than we did. And it was mainly because we just didn't foresee hitting that next rank already. It wasn't, we were like, no, we hit silver. There's only 4 days left. There's really no way to do that. Are you with me? And so learn from our mistakes on that. Like I don't care if you feel like you sealed up whatever goal you had in mind. If there is still time on that clock, keep pushing, because you don't know what's going to pop up and what's going to come through. And what you don't want to have is that you feel like, oh, I didn't push as hard, and all of a sudden I did get within an arm's reach of a goal, and now I'm going to miss it, or I'm going to have to spend some money to get it. Whereas if you just keep running the whole time, not to mention, you're going to need your team to do that for you someday. And so what goes around comes around. It's so true. You may think, oh, I've got this 400 point bulk order to put in, but I've already hit my goal for this month. And so I don't think I'm going to put it in. I think I'll save it till tomorrow. And then that way I can start the month off strong. That may make sense for your business at the time. And maybe you have a really close relationship with your sponsor and they're like, yeah, I don't have, save it for tomorrow, whatever. But I always want you to realize that there will come a day when you need someone to go ahead and put in that bulk order because you need the points. And if you're willing to do that for someone else, it'll come back to you someday when you desperately need someone else to do that as well. And it's really about communicating with your sponsors and just kind of getting a feel for what's going on. But just thought I would share that story with you. The other end of the month story I want to share with you is super important, because I heard that there's a rock star leader on this Zoom. I think I saw her pretty face a second ago, Miss Hillary, and her rock star team that are getting super duper close to a huge milestone in this company. Executive is like, I mean, all of the ranks are an amazing thing, but for whatever reason, executive, and I even got chills just now saying the word executive, is just like this, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. It's pinch me income. And I know that Hillary and Neil's team are right there, getting super close. And so I have to tell you, and this is kind of one of those big fish stories. I've heard other people retell it, and it gets a little bigger and bigger every time, but you're hearing it from the horse's mouth. March of 2014, Deanna and I were on our 50K getaway. And back then, cruise ships didn't have great internet. And we had been sitting at Platinum Director for almost a year. And we were committed. We are going executive in March of 2014. It was like, we claimed it, we're doing it. We didn't have great cell service or Wi-Fi on the boat. So when we got off the boat on like March 23rd, we were around 60,000 points, and we were deflated, to say the least, because we were hoping we were stepping off the boat at least into the 70s. And we knew we had 2 more days of subscriptions, and so we were wind out of our sails, to say the least. But at the same time, appreciative, because you don't sit at volume like that and not find yourself appreciative for that. Okay. So don't hear me wrong. But we kept working that week. We even scheduled a 4-city tour at the end of March that month. We had some new rock star builders that promised to pack the house if we hit the road. And we showed up to, I'm not kidding you guys, 4 no-show meetings. So end of the month, we're on the road where we could have been at home working, but we showed up. And when we got there and talked to the builder, she's like, well, I sent out invites through Facebook. So this is a little sidebar note, always make sure you coach people on how to truly invite and don't just trust a Facebook event. But regardless, another total wind out of our sales moment. I remember driving home that night and both of us were like, darn it. We really thought we were going to pull some good volume from these meetings, and we didn't. We didn't get any traction on them. And so, by the way, some people would just quit when those moments happen. And I don't know when you're going to show up to your no-show meeting, but I know that at some point you will. You will, and it'll suck, and you're going to want to complain, and you're going to feel like you invested all this time and money. It was for nothing, but it's not. It's all part of your story. So we picked up our, sorrows. We got back to work. On the morning of the 31st, Deanna and I woke up at 78,000 points. And we were basically in the mode of thinking, we'll get it next month. Sucks, but we'll get it next month. And at 9:00 that morning, I was headed into Wichita to an appointment. And the song, I can't think of the name of it right now. I've seen Dreams Will Move the Mountains. Oh my gosh. I wish I could tell you the title of it, because you all need to go. I'll think of the title and I'll text Melissa, because you need to go listen to it. That's what faith can do. That's what faith can do. And I felt like God, I'm a God girl. I felt like God was telling me, what would you tell your team to do in this situation? Would you tell them to keep fighting this last day of the month? Or would you just tell them to take the day off and then, hit it hard next month? And so for the first time ever, I picked up the phone and I told her, I'm like, Deanna, God's telling me that we're supposed to fight today. I don't even know how it's going to happen, but we are supposed to give it all we got. Let's run a promo and let's see what we can do. So we put $500 on the line. It was the first time we'd ever done that big of a promotion. And we said, I don't remember what it was. Every order that went through got an entry or whatever. And I'm not kidding you guys. The team exploded. We were shouting out anything that came through. So it caused a lot of momentum. Everybody wanted to feel a part of it. We put up the big tracker, the countdown, so they could watch the number getting smaller and smaller all day long. And we didn't just grow that 22,000. I'm pretty sure we ended the night at 106,000 points. We far surpassed what we needed to hit executive in that final day. So we grew over the 22,000 points that we needed in one day. And the reason I tell you that story is I'm not we both had mentally given up. We had mentally told ourselves it's not going to be this month either. But when we had that mindset shift and we were like, oh, no, we can't fall victim to that. I guess we'll try harder next month mentality. We're going to give it everything we've got. The team rallied. We allowed them to be a part of it, because I think sometimes in network marketing, maybe we get a little prideful. We don't want to be fully transparent about our numbers. And so like, if you wish it was further ahead, you don't want your team to know that you're not where you want to, throwing that out, that we just were transparent with where we were at, and everybody rallied, and it was such a victory. And so I'm going to be anxious to watch what happens on Hillary's team this month. And I hope I'm not leaving. Do you have 2 people running for executive right now, Melissa, or just Hillary's team? I don't want to leave anyone out.
I've got actually, we've got 4 people running for executive. I don't know if you heard that. We've got 4 running. We've got 4.
4. Oh my word. So all of you guys, go get it. Get creative. Don't always wait on Melissa to run you a promo. Like, get outside your box, go be the leader, rally your team and see what you can do. Because that, honestly, that night going to bed was probably one of our all-time highs with Singular. Truly. Even though, we've had several ranks since then, that night was a game changer for us. And it taught me so much to know that you can't give up. And we've watched crazy, massive amounts of volume come through on the last day of the month. And one of the worst things that we can do as a leader in this business, or just as a distributor, even if you don't see yourself as a leader yet, you are one, but is to just take the foot off the gas. Because it really, I know you've heard this phrase, it's seriously like a moving train. And if you let a train come to a complete stop so you can regroup, trust me, the start of August is going to be creeping by. It is very hard to get momentum rolling. So when you've got momentum, you got to keep it riding. I am not saying never to take some time for yourself. I have actually walked that walk, and I will openly tell everybody, you have to schedule time for yourself or you will burn yourself out, and you will get to a place where you are just like, but I would encourage you to schedule in times when you won't work your business each day. That's what works for me, versus saying I'm only going to work Singular from 4 to 6 tonight. No, for me, what works best is, I'm going to take from 6 o'clock tonight till 8:30 tonight with my family. I'm going to leave my phone in my bedroom, and I'm just going to go spend time with them, and I'll come back to it and I'll get right back to work. That way you don't get yourself to where you're out of balance with your work and your life, because that's a hard place to operate from. So, you guys know how to turn every stone. So I'm not going to go into the nooks and crannies of all that, but you know how to use your back offices and make sure everyone that subscription didn't run, following up with all those people. But we've got a promotion on the line, and typically last day of the month, any month there's a promotion, is usually a big number, because it's that one last call. Did you want to get in on this free product offer? And so you guys keep your foot to the gas the whole way through. And then I think that you're going to be so excited about where you end up for sure. So, Melissa, is there anything, I know the consistency you guys have been working on with your IPAs, and I love it. Like, seriously, I think so many people think that they can just want to be successful, but they're not really willing to work for being successful. I just posted something like that in our team page today. Everybody wants to be an executive. Everybody wants to be that, or an ambassador or beyond, but not everybody's willing to work for it. So it says a lot about the group of people on this video chat that you said yes to the accountability, yes to being committed to your IPAs. And because of your consistency, I don't know if it's tomorrow, I don't know if it's a month from now, a year from now, 10 years from now, but your consistency and willingness to never quit is what's going to bring you to where you want to go in this business. And really, truly, the only way you lose here is if you quit. So, Melissa, anything else you want me to speak to, or if you want me to see if anyone has any questions? Or
yeah, I would love to open it up for questions, but I'm going to tell you, you hit me in the feels just now, because, gosh, I think I'm more excited about all of them having the opportunity than I was the night that I hit. I really am. It's so exciting, and they work so hard, and everybody is in, everybody's focused. This team has got momentum like I haven't seen in years. And I am so excited about what's going to happen this month. So I'm just, it's a mess. But I would love to open it up for questions.
Yes.
Does anybody have any? I know Hillary's got a question.
I have a quick question, Melissa.
Go ahead.
I would like to ask her if she has any tips for unique accounts, as we're, only 2 months and a few days away from wrapping up the Founders Club trip. If she has anything that she does differently, or any advice she would give us.
Good question. I don't know if this is anything different, because I feel like we coached a lot the same way that Melissa coaches. But I think making it less of a business decision for somebody, and honestly, just a simple, hey, go find your 4. What 4 people do you have that would do this with you? You've got to have a mom or a best friend, or, the accountability is going to be great, because I know I'm here today, not because of the business. I'm here today because even after I told Monica I wasn't interested in the business, she's like, hey, I understand you don't want to do this business, but I know you want to get your products paid for. So go find your 4 people. Sorry, Deanna called me. I don't know if I went away for everybody or just myself, but Melissa, tell Deanna to quit calling. No, I'm just kidding. She's on vacation. I actually miss her a lot. So anyway, Tammy, I would say just normalize it. Hey, who do you have that you want to do this with? There's got to be some people you do this with. And when I did that, and then, Kylie Sanders, gold executive on our team, one of my best friends before this was one of my 4. And she's a gold executive now. And this is not Kylie's personality. Like, the fact that she has grown into the leader that she is honestly not even somebody that would host a home party before this. And so anyway, normalize that. I would say, one thing I've been cautioning my team on, and Melissa, I don't know if you and I've even talked about this. I know the tendency is want to build accounts for people. I do know of a couple of instances where corporate has tried to call some people because it was like, that's kind of fishy that there were 3 people at 12:01 on the night when, and then when they weren't real people, they shut the accounts down. So you do want to be careful about that and try not to just, the whole field can be guilty of that. But because I know of that having happened, it wasn't someone on my team, but as someone on a very close friend of mine's team, I'm like, I think we do need to be careful. I think they're tightening up on some of that. So as you're thinking outside the box, try to think outside the box with an actual person. I don't know, like somebody signed their cat up, and then when corporate called and they're like, yeah, that's my cat. I'm like, no, we can't be doing that. They're gonna, because if they figure it out, they'll shut it down and they'll take the person away. So figure out a way that you can do it that's still going to give you a real person, whether they keep going on the business or not, that's going to be for them to decide. But whether it's getting a cousin to finally tell people about it, and she gets her quick start bonus, and then she can decide if she wants to keep pursuing it. I'm trying to think of anything else. Obviously the normal stuff as far as inviting them, even if they're not a distributor, get them inviting to the results group, get them posting in your results group. It's not enough just to invite in there. They need to make a presence in there. So hopefully that's some fresh ideas. It may not be though. Sure. Bria, I see your hands raised.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I just got out of the shower, so I'm not going to be on video, but what are your creative ways that you prospect and get, I know you guys are really good at prospecting, and you meet your numbers and exceed your numbers every month. And that's really where I'm trying to get way better at. So I know the basic ways, and I keep, doing that. Do you have any out of the box ways that you find customer builders that way?
Yeah, good question. For starters, I 1,000,000% credit our Rockstar sponsoring to Team Z. And I know people get tired of hearing about it, but Team Z is a game changer. Month after month, in the year and a half now that we've been using Team Z, our top sponsors on our team are Team Z users. The people on my team that struggle to sponsor even 1 or 2 or 3 people a month, they don't use Team Z. So, and it's not an overnight thing. One of my top leaders used to be regularly sponsoring, regularly sponsoring, regularly sponsoring. She let her Teamsy overwhelm her where she had too many follow-ups set up and it just got hard to log in. And guess what? She didn't sponsor except for one 60-point order in the month of May. One 60-point order after she had been top sponsor, top sponsor, top sponsor, but she stopped using Teamsy. So on our monthly chat, she's like, okay, so here's the deal. And I'm like, just get back into it. Guess what? She's already met her 2,400 this month, but it didn't happen overnight. She had a decent sponsoring month in June, and she's had a great sponsoring month in July. So if you're not using Teamsy, you have to. Your business cannot afford to not be using it. But then beyond that, Bria, for years, Deanna and I have done such a good job of asking our customers to invite to the group. And that, I would say 90% of our new starts these days are people that someone else invited to the group. And so just being very diligent in that. We give our team a goal every single week, every one of us, even me, even you, don't care what rank you are, every single week, we all need to be finding one new person to invite to that group for you. If every week you found one person that would just invite 50 people to the group, and you did that every week, that's 200 new people that would funnel up to you in the group. So it really is a numbers game. We just have had, for so many years, we've had people doing that we just have a lot of people funneling up to us. And so that's probably the other thing I'd say, hold yourself accountable on that. Tell your sponsor or whoever you work most closely with, who is it that you are, that you got inviting? Was it your cousin this week? Was it a happy customer? And this is a little segue. If you guys are doing the 2 times a day bold message strategy, that all call that we did with Kala and Lacey and Deanna and Melissa and everybody, make sure that you are remembering to use that opportunity video. The ones I've had the best return on have been the people that I said, hey, I've got this short video. Will you check it out? And then let me know if anything intrigued you, basically. And several people are like, yeah, the whole thing intrigued me. I'm like, right? Free travel, daily pay, who doesn't want that? And then a conversation has started. So that's more as it relates to distributor conversion, but I thought it might still be helpful, Bria.
That's awesome. Can you do
That
one
was
more?
Great, thank you.
Yes, sure.
Okay, this is a good one. What is your why? And when you started the journey of being a leader, what were areas that you saw needed improvement in your business, and how did you strengthen them?
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
My why that's fun. Nobody ever asks me that. And it's evolved through the years. Written on my prayer wall in my closet is that I want the ability to give away more in a month than I live on in a month. Just that's where my heart is, to give. And we're getting closer and closer and able to give more. But because when you have more, you can give more, which in my opinion helps you live more. And so that's my big why. I have several special needs nephews in my family, and I carry a real burden for what their futures look like. And just, I know there's million mamas and dads out there that go to bed at night worried about what the future of their child with either mental disabilities or whatever. And so just a heart to really do something bigger in that sphere as well. And I don't know what that looks like, but I pray about it often that God will reveal that to me at some point. But that's the short version of my why. I have had to grow so many ways. You guys are talking to somebody that I have lacked confidence my whole life. I've thought I was ugly my whole life. I've thought I don't have anything to offer. I mean, I've had to overcome and gain confidence in so many ways due to Singular. I've always loved people. And so I feel like this has allowed me to take my love of people and to do more with my connector personality, if that makes sense. But what I've also learned, and Melissa and I joke about this all the time, Deanna and I, one of our major weaknesses, even still, is it's hard for me to tell somebody when I spot something that they're doing that's hindering their business. It's very difficult for me to tell them that. I struggle with saying, hey, sister, that post you put out, it's probably not going to get any traction. And here's why. That's very difficult for me. I've grown in some. I'm reading the Crucial Conversations book because I do believe in it. And and corporate laughs when we share that as our weakness, because they hear from us all the time and they're like, I don't think you have a hard time pointing out stuff that needs to be fixed. Because I don't mind, sharing that upwards, but I just don't want to hurt someone's feelings or whatever. So that's a work in progress. I have made improvements. Dan and I started these monthly chats. If I haven't shown you yet, Melissa, I need to. It's gone super well, where we look with our leaders that chose to. We look at every metric of health for their business. What was their personal sponsoring? What were their subscriptions like? If any of you guys want to see it, I've got a PDF I created, and then we do the chat strategy with all. The C stands for celebrate or cheer. They have to tell me something they want to celebrate or cheer in their business. The H is something specific that they're finding hard. What is hard about their business right now? The A is, what are you aiming for? Like, what is your one focus this month? And there's a tendency for people to get too big on the A column. They want to think, oh, I want to hit executive this month. Okay, that is good. But on the A, on this topic, we're going to dial it in. What specifically do you need to do in order to achieve your big time goal? And then the T is the tactic. If you told me your aim is that you want to be able to bring on one new distributor, our tactics will be full of the activities that you're going to do to achieve bringing on the new distributor. So anyway, that's helped us a ton, because when we have that in front of us, we have a reason to talk about why their personal sponsoring is lacking, or maybe the fact that their subscriptions are really low and we need to figure out why, and et cetera. So that's been a tool that's really helped us grow. But I think that's probably the biggest weakness we're still working to overcome. But great question.
That's
I have a
awesome.
question.
Sure, Hillary.
Have you made that shift to start?
We have taken your time a half hour already. Thank you so much for doing this for us. And
Oh, Hillary,
go ahead, Hillary. I knew you would.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
I just
Melissa.
wanted to know if you had made that transition to start using Teamsy with the ratings more. I know that that was something that was talked about, and if that was how that's going for you.
Yes, I have. So Hillary and Melissa and I talked, it might have been at XLC. I feel like it might have been in person. We talked about Teamsy can get overwhelming if you set too many follow-ups. And so mentally, I've had to tell myself, if they've ghosted me for 6 times, I'm not going to keep setting a follow-up. I'm just going to allow the system to do what it's supposed to do. So you're going to make sure you have them. I usually have them at a 3 or higher if I want to make sure they're still being reached out by me. And then I'm just trusting the system. It's going fabulous. I mean, I log in, I might have 20 to 25 follow-ups set for me any given day. And then I'm able to work through my customer list and work through my other prospect list. And it's been wonderful. So if you ever feel like you don't use Teamsy because it's too overwhelming, then talk with Melissa or whoever your leader is. Yeah, that you, Penny. So it gets that way. And I mean, there's been times I've logged in and we've had over 200 follow-ups set for me, and it's overwhelming. And then the only thing I do is work on that one column, that follow-up column. Well, if you're ever only working on your follow-up column, then all the other names that are sitting in your other lists, they're not ever hearing from you. And so it's really good to be particular about who you're setting follow-ups for, and then just trust that other names will funnel through. So, yep, it's gone great. Thanks for checking in on that one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to start doing that.
Perfect. Well, good luck to everybody. I cannot wait to see what happens through the end of July and on into August. I know it's going to take a lot of work to get everybody where we want to go, but it's not a sprint. We're running a marathon instead. So it's going to be the daily consistent activities that compile up to some great growth through the years. So I sure appreciate all of you guys jumping on. And Melissa, thank you for inviting me.
Oh, thank you. I hope you guys can hear me. I don't know what hear me, but thank you so much. Anything, just let me know. And I don't think anybody heard a word.